Welcome to the Deep Dive with Farmtips Diary. Today we ask, can Federal Reserve rate cuts truly save American farmers caught between export opportunities and relentless inflation? In this journey, we will explore how a weaker dollar could boost agricultural exports, why inflation continues to eat away farm profitability, smart strategies to hedge against rising costs, the importance of operational efficiency, and what the future might hold for farmers navigating this uncertain economy. Chapter 1. The Dollar's Dance and Export Hopes. Every American farmer is connected to the global marketplace, whether they realize it or not. When the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates, one ripple effect is a weaker U.S. dollar, and a weaker dollar can make American crops cheaper on the global stage. Corn in Iowa suddenly looks like a bargain compared to corn in Brazil. Soybeans from Illinois appear more attractive to buyers in China than soybeans from Argentina. Wheat from Kansas competes more strongly with Russian or Ukrainian exports. But the story is not that simple. While a weaker dollar improves competitiveness abroad, it does not guarantee that foreign demand will immediately surge. Trade relationships are complicated. Export contracts are negotiated months in advance. Geopolitical tensions can close or open doors regardless of pricing. And logistics, such as shipping costs or port bottlenecks, often offset currency benefits. Consider soybeans. China is by far the largest buyer of American soybeans. Yet when trade tensions rise, Chinese buyers diversify to Brazil even if U.S. beans are technically cheaper. This shows that currency swings cannot override political decisions. Similarly, when global shipping costs soared during the pandemic, some of the export advantages of a weaker dollar were swallowed by container shortages and higher freight charges. Farmers understand this nuance. They know that while rate cuts can open doors, those doors do not always swing wide. Instead, they crack open opportunities that must be seized with agility, strategic contracts, and market diversification. In short, a weaker dollar can be a helpful wind at farmers' backs, but it is not the same as smooth sailing across the export seas. Chapter 2. Inflation's Relentless Grip. Even as rate cuts lower borrowing costs, inflation has been stubborn. Fertilizer prices remain volatile due to energy costs and global supply disruptions. Diesel fuel swings unpredictably depending on oil markets and geopolitical shocks. Animal feed continues to rise, with climate disruptions in grain-producing countries. This puts farmers in a painful bind. Lower interest rates may reduce the cost of loans, but if the price of every input is higher, profitability remains squeezed. Think of it like patching one hole in a leaky boat while two more spring open. A vivid example comes from fertilizer. In 2022 and 2023, nitrogen fertilizer prices surged more than 80% in some regions due to natural gas volatility in Europe and supply chain bottlenecks. Even as prices eased later, they never returned to pre-crisis levels. Farmers were forced to spend more just to maintain yields. The same applies to feed costs for livestock producers, where global grain shortages and weather shocks rippled directly into higher bills. For farmers, inflation is not abstract economic theory. It is the very real number on the receipt when buying diesel. It is the painful total at the co-op when loading up on fertilizer. It is the ongoing stress of trying to budget when costs refuse to stabilize. Chapter 3. Hedging against the storm. So how can farmers fight back? Many have turned to hedging strategies, not just for crops, but also for inputs. Some use futures contracts to lock in fertilizer or fuel prices ahead of time. Others negotiate bulk purchasing agreements with neighboring farms through cooperatives, achieving discounts that would be impossible individually. Technology also plays a role. Precision agriculture helps reduce wasted fertilizer and water, lowering input costs. Sensors and GPS-guided equipment ensure nutrients are applied only where needed, saving both money and the environment. Farmers who adopt these tools are effectively hedging against inflation, insulating themselves from unpredictable swings in supply costs. Alternative practices are gaining ground as well. Cover cropping and no-till farming reduce dependency on purchased inputs by improving soil health naturally. Manure management and composting reduce reliance on expensive synthetic fertilizers. Renewable energy adoption, such as solar panels or biogas digesters, helps offset the volatility of electricity and fuel bills. Each of these strategies represents a form of resilience. Instead of being hostage to external markets, farmers build buffers that protect them from the full force of inflation. Chapter 4. Flexibility and Efficiency. In today's economy, flexibility is not optional. Farmers who survive are those who can pivot quickly. They diversify crop rotations to reduce risk. They invest in storage facilities to time the market, selling grain when prices peak instead of during the glut of harvest. They explore niche markets such as organic certification, direct-to-consumer sales, or specialty grains that are less sensitive to global price swings. Operational efficiency is equally critical. Smart warehouses, automated machinery, and farm management software are not just futuristic tools, they are survival mechanisms. Every hour of labor saved and every gallon of fuel conserved adds up when margins are thin. Think of efficiency as a farmer's invisible crop. It does not grow in the field, but it grows in the balance sheet. And in a world where inflation eats at every input, harvesting efficiency becomes as valuable as harvesting corn or soybeans. Chapter 5. Preparing for the future. Experts caution that the current economic environment is unlikely to stabilize soon. Inflation may persist longer than policymakers expect. Rate cuts may provide temporary relief, but they cannot fully reverse global supply shocks, energy volatility, or climate disruptions. What does this mean for farmers? It means planning for uncertainty must become the new normal. Farmers who stress test their cash flow against different scenarios are better positioned to withstand shocks. Those who secure long-term fixed rates on loans can avoid the whiplash of future rate hikes. Those who build trusted relationships with lenders gain flexibility in negotiations when times get tough. It also means keeping an eye on global trends. Renewable energy transitions, climate policies, and geopolitical shifts will all affect input costs and export demand. Farmers who follow these signals and adjust strategies early will be more resilient than those who simply react when shocks arrive. In the words of one agricultural economist, resilience is no longer a choice, it is the cost of entry to modern farming. Recap: we have seen how a weaker dollar can create openings for American exports but does not guarantee success. We have felt the pressure of inflation on fertilizers, fuels, and feeds. We have explored hedging strategies, efficiency improvements, and technological adoption as shields against rising costs. And we have looked at the importance of flexibility, smart financial planning, and resilience in preparing for the uncertain future ahead. If you found this exploration insightful, remember to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to Farmtips Diary.